Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about what I've been reading over the last few months. Now, when I first took my break from YouTube, I was doing nothing but playing Animal Crossing all day, all night. I was obsessed. And then I started having some health issues, and so I wasn't really in the right mindset to be reading, so there were actually a few months there that I wasn't reading anything. But then I started getting back into reading again, and so these are like the highlights, I would say, of what I have been reading. I'm going to start off by talking about a book that it's not a fiction book, it's a nonfiction book, and I'm probably going to wear this out at some point because I refer to it all the time. I'm going to do a separate video about my diet and losing weight and my favorite recipes and all that. But this is the book that I make most of my recipes from. And the funny thing is, there's hardly any recipes in here. It's just the few that there are so good that I make them all the time. And I think I have some videos on my channel making at least a couple of these recipes, but I have since modified them and tweaked them. What I like to do with recipes a lot of times is I start off making a person's recipe, and then I sort of make it my own and customize it and add ingredients or remove ingredients or whatever. So anyway, eat bacon, don't jog. And that's a joke because this guy is actually sort of an athlete type person. He's really into cycling, and I think he's a big part of that whole cycling world. But anyways, this is basically a keto book. The whole, let's see, I would say the first 2/3 of it is just all about keto, and then he starts talking about exercising. And then at the end of the book, there are recipes. And my favorite recipes in here are the Japanese soup, the fake pancakes, and the quiche. What is it called, though? Fantastic fake quiche. So yeah, there are some great recipes at the end of this book, and the book is very inspiring about explaining about keto and why it works and how awesome it can be to be eating that way. But I love this book, and hopefully it's still in print because I was trying to find some reference to this guy the other day, like a Twitter or an Instagram or something, and it doesn't look like he's really done much in the last year or so, or longer even, so hopefully this book is still in print. Okay, so let's talk about comic books. I like comic books. I don't buy them that often. I am fortunate enough to have an independent comic book store right down the street from me. And I also have a Newberry Comics at the mall, at my local mall. And so I have, there's even another place that sells comics too. So I have a lot of options for places to buy comic books in my area. But like I said, I don't really buy them that often because comic books come out on a schedule, and I forget. Like if I'm reading a series, a certain issue will go by, and then I'll forget about it, and then I can't get it because they only print a certain amount, and unless something is really popular, it will go out of print, and that's it. You lost out. So then you have to stop watching the series. It's not a TV show. Anyway, Marvel came out with Dark Ages recently, and so this is the first one, and then this is the second one. If you like Marvel and you like dystopian type stories, post-apocalyptic type stories. If you like that sort of thing, you would probably like this. And I did exactly what I just described with this series. I think issue number 3 came out and I just wasn't even thinking about it, so I probably missed out, and now probably we'll have to wait for the graphic novel to be released in another year or whatever once the series finishes, and then I'll just have to buy the graphic novel, because that's what they do with things that are really popular, is they take all the comic books and make them into one book so that people that don't pay attention to release dates can just buy the book. Okay, so that is worth checking out if you are interested. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a series. And by the way, I really love kids' books. I think that they are great because my favorite way to read is to read like for an hour right before I go to sleep at night. I find it very relaxing and enjoyable, and because that's the way I like to read, I like things that are not too heavy duty or difficult to read. So I love kids' books. If you watched my last video about what I was reading, I told you that I read the entire Wizard of Oz series, which I think most people think it's just one book, and it wasn't. It was like a dozen books in the series, something like that. And wow, those were so great. And I also read the Gregory Maguire adaptation of that series where he took the stories and then put his own spin on it, and I really enjoyed those. Now from there, this is pretty much what I have read since then. I'm going to start off by talking about this. This is a very easy read, maybe a little too easy. I read the first book in this series, The Last Kids on Earth, and I said, geez, I don't know. This is quite, it's supposed to be like middle reader, but I would say it's at the very beginning of that spectrum of ages. And I finished the book and I was like, I liked it, but I wish it had been geared a little bit more advanced in age. But I'm sure that, you know, most kids would absolutely love this because it's a post-apocalyptic series about the last kids on Earth. I don't know what happened to the adults in these kids' circles. I guess, you know, the adults packed up and left town or got killed or something. And these kids are left in a town all by themselves, and they have to figure out how to survive and work together to create a new world, really. But it's good, but if you're not into kids' books, you probably won't like this. It's good if you want something super light to read, just to relax. Although it's like an action series, so I don't know how relaxing it would be, but to me, reading is relaxing no matter what the subject matter. So anyways, I bought the first book, didn't love it, but something was telling me to buy the second book. I did, and it gets better. The series gets much better as it goes on, and I have read most of the series now, and I think I still have like a couple of books at the end of the series that I need to get caught up on. Okay, the next author I want to talk about is Rick Riordan. You guys, I have talked about him before. He is one of my all-time favorite authors. He is one of the world's best-selling authors. And I have read a ton of his books over the course of the last few months. I read the entire Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard books. Each one of these series that I'm talking about is multiple books, anywhere from 3 to 5. And if you're not familiar with Rick Riordan, his books are based in mythology. He makes mythology even more interesting than it already is. And he will take a specific genre of mythology and then build a book series around it. So this is Norse mythology, obviously, the gods of Asgard. And so I read that whole series. Then I went on to read the entire Kane Chronicles series. This is based on Egyptian mythology. And this was also turned into a TV show. I think it's being filmed right now. So it hasn't been released yet, but I think it's going to be on Disney when it finishes. And then the series that I'm reading right now is The Heroes of Olympus. This is book 1. I'm on book 2 right now, and it's a 5-book series, so I have 3 more after that. This is different because he takes 2 major characters from the books that he's done on Roman and Greek mythology and takes away their memory and switches camps. So what the Greek person is at the Roman camp, the Roman person is at the Greek camp, and they have to pitch in and help the people that are at this camp because they're always trying to save the world in these books. It's somehow they always live to fight another day and save the world, but it's really, really fun and interesting books. And the character development is really good, and he really brings all these people to life in a big way. They're really great. But anyways, this was interesting, mixing the different mythologies together by having the different characters show up at each other's camps with no memory. But that's what I'm reading right now. And then what I was going to do was I was going to start reading like a nonfiction book during the day and then still read my fiction at night, but also play Animal Crossing, cook recipes that aren't necessarily quick and easy. But now I'm back to making YouTube videos again, and plus, I have housework and laundry and food shopping and other things to do. So trying to figure out how I'm gonna incorporate all this, but there are a lot of interesting nonfiction books out there right now that I kind of want to read, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna find enough hours in the day. But I also want to read some more keto books and keto cookbooks, because part of that whole keto thing, I feel like, is the more you read about it and learn about it, the more exciting it gets, and you get more motivated to continue on that path. But so yeah, that's what I've been reading, and that's it, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.